I was there. I don't know why, but I was there. Standing at the side of the road at Golgotha, the place of the skull. Very appropriate for such an awful place. And there he was, this Jesus guy, this chosen one that didn't look very chosen now. Just hanging there, in between two other guys. They all looked a mess, but he in particular was in a terrible mess. After Pilate had handed him over to the crowd, things had gone downhill really badly for him. Now he barely looked like a human being, let alone a man in his 30s. I should have gone home, really. I'm not one to go to these public executions, not my cup of tea at all. They're bloody, painful, depressing and disturbing events, and I think you have to be a real sicko to want to watch. Yet here I was, standing there, mesmerised by this figure on the middle cross, and still wondering, what happened? What was it all about? Of course, there was some around there who didn't really have much choice about the matter. The Roman soldiers had to actually do the deed. We Jews weren't allowed. So there are a few of them standing around, probably to make sure that things didn't get nasty and to prevent any futile rescue attempts. As if. I don't suppose most of them wanted to be there, but for them, it was a job. Just another day in the life of a soldier in some God-forsaken foreign land. Then there were the ones who had led the movement to get him out of the picture. The religious leaders and their hangers-on who didn't like being told they were getting it all wrong and actually working against God. No wonder they were mad. Although, to be fair, what you said was right, as far as I could see. All these religious guys were mainly concerned about their own status and position in society, rather than doing what God wanted. Well, that's how it seemed to me anyway. Certainly all the stuff I heard that Jesus said made a lot more sense than their pious spoutings. It did to me anyway. Although I never would have said that out loud, you know. People who do that end up where he is now. Hung out to dry. Literally. No. Keep your head down and your mouth shut. Do what you're told and nobody gets hurt. Well, almost nobody. Then there were the ones I really felt sorry for. Over to one side was a group of women. Such a sad sight. Tears streaming down their faces, trying to console each other. Someone even said his mum was there too. That's not right, is it? No mother should have to watch their son go through what he was suffering. They should have kept her out of the way. That wasn't right. Then it went dark. Wow, that was scary. It was around noon when the skies just went black. Blacker than I've ever seen them. It was like night, and cold too. It was as if the sun had turned its back on us. Stupid, I know, but that's what it felt like, and it scared me. I remember wondering if this was it. Was this the end of the world? Was all that stuff he'd said true after all? There were a lot of anxious faces around there, I can tell you. It stayed like that for 3 whole hours. 3 long, seemingly everlastingly long hours. Now, as I say, I'm not one for public executions, but I'd seen a couple previously, and believe me, this was nothing like them. All the same, they are excruciatingly brutal, drawn-out events, and you get to the stage where every fibre of your being is silently screaming out for it all just to end, for all the pain and the agony and the crying and the moaning to stop. I wasn't close enough to hear anything that was said to or by the ones being crucified. I'm not sure I could have stood it, to be honest, but about 3 o'clock, Jesus seemed to say something, and then he gave a sort of yell, and there was a flurry of activity, and then he was gone. Dead. Just like that. Never seen anything like it in my life. And just as quickly as they came, the dark clouds disappeared, and it was daylight again. Weird. To be honest, I was glad he'd gone quickly. I knew what was coming next, and it wasn't going to be pretty. You see, the only way people on a cross can breathe at the end is to use their legs to lift themselves up as much as they can so their lungs can actually work. It simply makes their death throes last even longer. But then we humans do tend to cling on to life as long as we can, don't we? Even when that life is all about pain and agony. Whatever you say about the Romans, they do have an ounce of compassion in them, Or maybe it's just that they want everything to end clear-cut, with no chance of are they dead or not complications. So, to put it simply, they come round and break the legs of anybody still alive, so they definitely can no longer breathe, and death inevitably happens soon after. Not pleasant, but practical. That's the Romans in a nutshell. Except they didn't need to do that to him because he was already dead. But that didn't stop a guy shoving a lance into him to confirm that fact. That was out of order if you ask me, but it did prove he was well and truly gone, and that seemed to satisfy everyone, and generally people started to drift away. Strangely, I couldn't. Maybe it was because I was still bewildered over the events of the past week. Thinking back, I couldn't believe how it all happened, and all so quickly. One moment everyone was happy and loved him, and the next, here I am standing there, looking up at his lifeless body and reading the sign they'd put over his head. The King of the Jews. Yeah, right. Some king he turned out to be. Still, it didn't seem right to me. I don't know why, but it just didn't seem right. Maybe it'd all been a dream. Maybe I'd wake up any minute and find myself in bed. But no, I was there. God help me. God forgive me. I was there.
It